know you, introduce yourself.
I am Kafi Kennedy. I'm currently running for Orange County Judge. I have been an attorney here in the area for almost 18 years.
What inspired you to run for Orange County Judge? And why do you believe now is the right time to serve on the bench?
I was inspired by the amazing judges I have had the opportunity to appear in front of, whether that was here in Orange or in the surrounding counties. I've also treated as the next ability to serve. I'm a believer in service. That's the rent we pay for the space we occupy here on earth. And being a judge is an ability to serve the community. I have been an assistant public defender and an assistant state attorney, all in service.
Having handled more than 4,000 cases throughout your career, what lessons have you learned about fairness and justice in the courtroom?
I think it's about respect and how you treat people. No matter the outcome, that if I was the public defender that my clients were going facing, or it actually happened, if they felt the court treated them with respect, gave them the opportunity to be heard, then they were okay with the outcome. And so what that has shown me is how you treat people is very important into how they feel about the criminal justice and the court system.
Many people find the court system intimidating. How would you work to ensure that every person who enters your courtroom feels heard, respected, and understood?
I agree. When you walk into the Orange County Courthouse, you see a long line, you go through the metal detectors, you try to go to the elevator bank. The entire process can be definitely overwhelming and overstimulating. I think judges that come on the bench and they explain the process. Today we are here for whatever the day is set for, and this is how it will appear for each case as we go through them. Thank you for your patience and understanding as we have a number of cases to get through, but we will get to each and every one of you at an appropriate time. And I think that calms people's nerves. It allows people to realize that the judge is human as well as them. And then when they approach the podium for their case, that you treat them with respect, as well as treating those attorneys that represent them or opposing side with the same level of respect.
What qualities do you believe are most important for a county judge, and how have you demonstrated those qualities throughout your career?
I think the most important is treating everyone with respect, but also having patience. What we've learned, I went to the state of the county recently, the number of people that have moved into Orange County in the last few years. And so the volume of cases that county court judges have to deal with has risen exponentially. But important to not forget that each case number is a person, a family, and represents a community that they come from. And so being patient as you're dealing with this process. Obviously, there are dockets and caseloads to move, but also giving everybody the opportunity to be heard.
You have experience working in both prosecution and defense related roles. How has seeing the justice system from multiple perspectives shaped your judicial philosophy?
I think I wish every person that wants to be a trial attorney had the opportunity to work in both offices, because you see the pressures and the role that each plays. And I don't think sometimes each side understands what the other one has to deal with and the pressures that they have. And so it has taught me to, one, be patient. In county court, especially in criminal county courts, you are dealing with very young attorneys. That is usually in both offices where they start out with. And so they are not as versed, they're nervous, they're apprehensive, all those same things, because they are young attorneys, usually a year or two outside of graduating and passing the bar from law school. As far as the civil world goes, knowing that you're dealing with a lot of pro se or unrepresented individuals, meaning they are representing themselves. And as both an assistant state attorney and an assistant public defender, I've dealt with obviously victims that don't understand the criminal justice system, just know that they were a victim of a crime, as well as first-time offenders that this is their first time ever being arrested or having a charge against them, and explaining the process. So I think giving that balance and understanding on each side what pressures they face, as well as explaining to the public of what the process is, not giving them legal advice as the judge, but the process that they are now embarking on.
Public trust in institutions is a major topic today. What can judges do to strengthen confidence in the judicial system while remaining impartial?
I think it's very important, public trust, and that's what helps our community have faith in our justice system. I think you do that by explaining your role, treating everyone, no matter whether they are the richest person or the poorest person, no matter their socioeconomic background, no matter where they come from. that when they come into your courtroom, that you are respectful, understanding, you extend some grace at times. And I give an example. If you've ever been to the courthouse, sometimes, especially on Monday mornings, those lines are extremely long, sometimes all the way to the street. And so even though someone may be late to court, it may not be because they didn't get there 45 minutes, 30 minutes before, but extending that grace and being patient as you're going through and allowing people to get into the courtroom, depending on how busy the courthouse is that day.
As Orange County continues to grow, as you mentioned earlier, and become more diverse, what challenges do you anticipate the local court system will face in the coming years?
Obviously, it's the volume. Step one is just the volume of cases that are coming in, the judges are having to deal with. Two, sometimes there is a language barrier between the court and whether it's the victim, defendant, prosecutor, or the plaintiff are dealing with. I think one beautiful thing that the court has now is language line, and so they have interpreters that are physically in the building, but also phone numbers they can call if it's a language that they don't understand, that they don't speak, of someone on staff on the courthouse. Also understanding that, especially when it comes to public defenders, sometimes they have to take more time with their cases because their client may not speak English, and therefore they have to as well deal with an interpreter in order to be able to talk to their client about whatever the case. Same thing as far as a prosecutor goes. When you're explaining to the victim what is happening, maybe a plea negotiation that is happening right before trial starts, being patient and understanding that that prosecutor will have to get an interpreter. So as we become more diverse in where everyone is coming from, making sure that the court has the items that they need to be able to explain to all parties involved what the proceedings are and the outcomes.
How would you balance efficiency in managing a busy courtroom with ensuring that every case receives the time and attention it deserves?
I think it's very important to be punctual and a person of your word. If court starts at 9, then that's what time I expect all parties to be ready. Understand, I used to work at the public defender's office, and Mr. Wesley had a thing that 8:30 is when obviously the office opened, and so that was your time to negotiate with the state. Between 8:30 and 9, that was where any working out of any cases could happen, so that when the judge took the bench at 9, everybody was prepared. At the same time, on the court, it's to take the bench at 9, if that's what the docket says, or at 10 o'clock if that's the hearing. So one, being respectful of everyone's time, therefore you can move cases along. Also holding both parties to their time limit. So if you've requested a 45-minute hearing, that's what it is, because you don't want to delay someone else's hearing, and be respectful of their time because you're running over. So being mindful and explaining to all those involved that whatever the time constraints are, that they understand it. And if they need more time, that is fine, and we can schedule more time maybe at a different date.
If elected, what do you hope your legacy will be after serving as an Orange County judge, and how would you like members of the community to describe your courtroom?
I would like to say that her courtroom is efficient, her courtroom is respectful, but more importantly, she was a member of the community. So it wasn't just on election time that you saw me out there involved in community activities, but that I consistently have been involved in my community, whether I've served as the Orange County Bar Foundation president, or the Paul C. Perkins Bar Foundation president, or serving on different youth organizations, or speaking at local elementary, middle, and high schools, making sure that you're continuing to educate our voters and our future voters on what takes place in the courtroom.
Yes. Well, thank you for coming to Cat Village. We loved hearing from you, and thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity, and remember to vote on or before August 18th for Kafi Kennedy for Orange County Judge.